largely drives the Western economies, and even in China and Japan, they need people to spend more money, and they're savers. But in general, spenders consume stuff, they buy stuff, but producers and the rich tend to make stuff and sell to the consumers. Building wealth and security is about investing your money into assets that will give you a return on your money, either growth above inflation or gives you income. It's not about blowing your hard-earned cash on lots of stuff. So in general, what I'm saying is the rich invest and build wealth first, and then spend the residual income that they get from their assets and their wealth, and then they spend on their homes, toys, and anything else that they want, and lots of goodies. But the poor tend to do the opposite. They spend money first and save what's left over. So it's a very important point to bear in mind. There's an old saying that you should pay yourself first, which means paying yourself into an account that will grow your money, whether it's in an ISA account or a pension policy or some sort of savings scheme which invests in stocks and shares, like an index fund. That's paying yourself first. So when you get your salary check, most people are employed, when you get paid, instead of just spending it all and saying, well, if I have any left over, I'll save it. No, you take a percentage of that and you put it immediately into your wealth building funds. It's a bit like having separate pots of money, so that the money comes into one account and goes into several accounts to save for maybe short-term, medium-term and long-term savings. But you take that money out of your main account before you hit the month, and then you learn to live without it. Now you could start off with, if you think, well, I couldn't possibly do that, I spend all my money right now. Well, then you need to come and look at my webinar, because I'll show you a way of how you can learn to control your money and get a grip of your money, so that you do have leftover money to save. But even if you can't save, I would suggest you need to live on 80% of your salary and save 20%, especially if you haven't got a company pension scheme. But you might, I couldn't possibly do that. But if you start even with 1%, 2%, 5%, could you live on 95% of your income and save the rest? Well, I think most people could. If you start to look at where your money is going and what you're spending on, for instance, if you're going to Starbucks every day and spending £10, $10 a day on that, in a working week, that's £50 or $50 a week. That's $2,500 over a year, or $25,000 over 10 years. Could you forego the Starbucks and find another sort of coffee, or make coffee at the office, or make coffee at home, or just have less of that and put that money to work for you? Same thing applies to lots of other things. You might have 2 or 3 TV subscriptions you're paying. So I've met people who've got 3 or 4 TV subscriptions. They can't possibly watch them all, just by saying, well, do I need this? Do I need all that? Do I need Disney and Netflix? Do I need Sky Sports and all these sorts of things I don't watch? You could save yourself hundreds of pounds or dollars a month. Look at your bank statements, look at where your money is going, and then tell me you can't put something aside to save. Because if you don't do this, you'll never really build any wealth. And it's no good relying on sort of lottery tickets to fund your retirement, or put you in a position where you don't have to work anymore. So remember that the rich put their money into assets, and they live off the residual of their assets. So an example of that might be to say you buy a property. So you save up, you buy a second property, and you might get a mortgage on it, you might use leverage, but the rental income from that could then support say buying a car, maybe leasing a car, as you might not want to put all your cash into a car, you might want to lease a car. But when you've got enough of those assets and you can live off the dividend income from shares or a pension scheme that you've saved in, or a property, it's called passive income. And then you're in a position where you are financially free and you don't have to work for somebody else. Does that make sense? I'll cover more of this on my webinars on a Wednesday night, so I'll put a link up there. Click to join that, and I'll go into more detail of how you can get a grip on your finances, stop wasting a lot of money, and start saving and investing for the future so that you can become financially free. Check it out in the link below. Bye for now.